Hello and welcome to Picture Astrology. In this quick video we will talk about placement of Mercury in the sign of Gemini, which is considered to be the own sign of Mercury. And when planet of intellect Mercury is placed in the sign which is ruled by itself, it is considered to be a very good blessing. But own sign planets bring about certain pitfalls as well. So in this video we will look from practical perspective various effects of Mercury in the sign of Gemini, including the not so good one. So the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, is considered to be of air element, and it is the first sign of air element. And if you observe, the basic quality of air are twofold. First of all, air is dry in nature. You want to dry your clothes, you will spread it out in the air. And you can also very well see wet cloths are heavier, whereas the dry cloths are always lighter. And this observation actually applies to everything. Anything which is which is full of water or wet will gain mass and will also gain weight. Anything which is skinny is dry. So first of all, if this placement is associated with, say, your ascendant or the first house, then it always gives a personality where people find it difficult to gain weight. And many people actually wonders how they can eat but still not put on weight. Now this will also happen if Mercury is, say, not associated with ascendant, but is one of the strongest planet in your chart. And there are various ways in which a planet can be strongest in your chart. One of the ways which is not very well known is, say, if Mercury is even placed in the 10th house. So even if you have Mercury of in Gemini in, say, 10th house, this will give you a lean physique. And not just that, Mercury is the youngest planet in the entire zodiac, in the entire court of planet or planetary court, as it is said in the Vedic Astrology. Mercury is considered to be a prince, a young boy who has not yet attained puberty. And therefore, this placement of Mercury in Gemini is also very well associated with younger looking body, not just a skinnier body, but also someone who looks much more younger than his or her age. But always remember the two key points, either in association with the ascendant or ascendant lord and it being rather strong. Now, another important thing is that airy signs, all three airy signs are related to your intellectual ability, your logical and thinking mind. And Gemini is the beginning of the air signs, the very first sign in the air triangle. And therefore it is also associated with the stage of your life where you are, just beginning to use your mind. You are just beginning to communicate with the world. You are starting to utter the first words of your life. You are now understanding the world. You're starting to use your mind, recognize things, recognize certain words, learn those words. So those learning ability, intellectual ability, the baby steps you take in preparing yourself for the world, the very fundamental logical abilities are related to the sign of Gemini. And Mercury is also the planet which signifies all these. No wonder Mercury rules this sign. And therefore all these qualities of a good learning ability, a fertile mind, someone who is quick to grasp things, someone who is very crisp in communication, who is able to express his ideas in many different ways, someone who is also able to multitask. See, both of these things, the sign of Gemini as well as Mercury, are related to your ability to do many things, your intellect. The stronger it is, the more different things you can do. especially with this sign, because this sign also rules your hands. So someone who can really, very good at multitasking or in multiple arts, interested in, learning music, also singing, and, ability to do many things, is the hallmark of this Mercury's placement in sign of Gemini. And by extension meaning, see, Mercury when it's in the third sign of Gemini will have a direct aspect on the ninth sign, which is the Sagittarius. And this sign or Sagittarius is mostly associated with scriptures. Therefore, if you read any of the classics, they will define this placement of Mercury in Gemini as someone who is, well versed in Vedas or scriptures. But the fact is that this placement gives you the necessary intellect which can be used to gain knowledge about various subjects, especially including the scriptures and classics and so on. Whether you do it, whether you use your intellect in learning those, will depend on your ninth house and the placement of Jupiter. So if Jupiter aspects this Mercury, or say your ninth house has mutual aspect with this Mercury, then definitely the person would be quite learned in history, in scriptures and so on. But irrespective, the necessary faculties, the necessary intellect is always present when you have this Mercury in Gemini. Now, the very important thing which we started discussing in the beginning, that when a planet, when a graha is in its own sign, when you are at your own home, then you are the owner of your own activities. You are very comfortable in your home, and so is Mercury in Gemini. But what happens is, in your own home, when there is nobody to look over you, this can bring all of your qualities to the fore. And when you say all of the qualities, it includes your negative qualities as well as good qualities. Both negative and positive of a planet can easily get accentuated when that planet is in an own sign, especially with Mercury. So one thing that will become very important is the houses that Mercury rules, the houses in which the Gemini, which is the third sign, and Virgo, which is the sixth sign, falls. So we will see more about house interpretation when we talk about Mercury in Gemini for each of the ascendant. But for now, let's consider some of the natural negative tendencies of Mercury. See, every planet has some great qualities and at the same time some negative qualities. The whole world, whatever you see, good, bad, ugly, is attributed to these 9 planets as per Vedic astrology. So a lot of negative things will also be coming from the same planets. So when Mercury is in its own sign, one thing that can easily happen is the person can become really talkative. They have sharp intellect. Now that sharp intellect could be used to hurt others through words also. Now that obviously happens more when Mercury is afflicted or third house is afflicted. Second negative qualities, which is generally talked about in a lot of classics, is that the person could rely too much on his intellect, too much on speech and communication, and because of that they may talk much more but do less. The actual work, the actual love of labor, the physical labor, they may not do much. Now if say this Mercury is strong and associated with your 10th house, then what you will find is even the profession of these folks is related to a field where not much physical labor is required, but mental activity and mental labor will be required a lot. So in those cases it is fine. But the fundamental thing which all this the classics or Vedic astrology text talks about is that this placement can make a person lazy. Lazy in the sense they may not have much inclination towards hard work or physical labor. They wouldn't want to get into action very easily, rather they can indulge in talk and gossip. Now for this to happen, obviously the ascendant, 10th house and the planet of action, which is Mars, these points have to be weak. But the fundamental is that Mercury being in its own sign can bring about some of these negativities as well. So friends, this was my very quick analysis of Mercury in the sign of Gemini. Thank you so much for your time, and please do share your experience in the comment section if you have this placement, which can be helpful to everyone in various ways. But thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.